Schapelle Corby. Fellow Australians or neighbouring Indonesians, or any person in the world who might be interested in oppression and bullying. I've wondered why one individual should be so pursued and hounded, so judged, as though we each have a right to free speech and opinion, right or wrong. Well, do we? Because I can name one person who does not. Schapelle Corby. 5,000 years ago, humans evolved to a wonderful level, and the people around the Mediterranean, the Greeks, developed the concept of city-states, public debate in forums, and democracy. They created and shared and talked, and we owe the beginnings of all of our culture, art and sciences to them. This includes concepts such as logic, truth, the importance of justice, all of these wonderful things which seem to have escaped us whenever we talk about the case of Schapelle Corby. This is an individual, a woman who has served 10 years in a foreign prison and who earned an early release because her behaviour was seen as good by those in charge. In the entire 10 years, Australians created myths, produced articles, told urban legend stories almost, and wanted to know what was happening to Schapelle and the Corby family. In fact, we did not and could not leave it alone. When it was known she'd be released, the press was out there in droves, absolute droves, and we saw how difficult it was for her to stay out of the limelight. Think about where the fault lies in this. It's been ongoing and obviously distressing for this woman and her family to be so hounded. But they have no permission to speak. They cannot use their voices to speak the truth. Are we afraid to hear what they've got to say, to hear their opinion? I, for one, would love to hear how Schapelle survived 10 years in Kerabakan. So, Indonesia, I believe, and I do still have my voice and opinion, that you need to consider that this woman is being used by the media, particularly the media coming from her own country. She has paid the price set down by you, and she is willing to follow your rules. Are you now going to set rules for her sister? If so, what about the rest of her friends and family? And what about me? Are we not permitted to speak of her? Is she ostracised? I'm disgusted at this abuse of a single individual. She spent 10 years paying for a crime that has legal status in some places of the world. Now that she has limited freedom, well, there's two opposite words for you. She's hounded in some very cruel form of torture. It breaks my heart to see how little compassion we continue to show. I wonder how far we truly have come from the times of the Greek civilization to now. This all has become so very uncivilized. I'm disappointed and I'm ashamed of my fellow countrymen and women, many of whom have smoked and do smoke pot, which is a weed or a herb untouched by us, not manufactured. It shouldn't even be spoken of as a drug, in my opinion, but rather as a medicinal herb. So hypocritical of us as a nation. And then the use of our own federal police force to search media offices without any real justification is truly disturbing. This is freedom of the press, freedom of individuals, both being attacked. And proceeds of crime. Surely that's up to the Indonesian people who took her to court and put her on trial if they think that's what's going to happen and if that's what they do. If not, their punishment. Isn't that the one that we've been having to stand by for 10 years? That Schapelle Corby has lived for 10 years? As a teacher, I have found myself witnessing recently one of the worst cases of bullying I have ever seen. I hope we'll all come to our senses and leave this woman alone. We all know her life will continue to be challenging. She has paid. She continues to pay. Now leave her alone to do that. Thank you.